the Charlie Kirk thing, man, like, if you wanna talk about that, because I know we don't see eye to eye exactly on that.
I don't know if we don't see eye to eye on it, but
Yeah, I
because you
don't
feel that way, I mean, speak to it. Like, what do you think we have a disagreement about?
I think that your response seems so indifferent, and I think I saw you earlier say there's no point in being angry. I think
I do not believe I said there's no point in being angry. I don't think it's useful.
how is that any different? That you're saying the same thing.
I mean,
You're
if you are going to be angry, do something with the anger. Being angry for anger's sake is useless, in my opinion.
Yeah, but first you have to get people, like, to feel something. Like, there are people who are at best, uh, indifferent, and I would say, at the other end of that spectrum, you have people celebrating this man and lionizing him and, like, whitewashing, his what they call political activism, which is just a complete misnomer in my opinion, but that's what we have going on now. So, I think when we get to that bridge, we can cross it, but I don't see the harm in trying to get people to realize what's happening, to just feel something about this and not be like, "Oh, I don't even know who Charlie Kirk is."
But that's what's happening. People are not only feeling something, they are literally expressing it in ways that is jeopardizing their own careers, their livelihoods. So it's not like people are just indifferent. Like people feel very strongly, but in ways that are just very immature, in my opinion.
So what would you have people do? I mean, not say anything?
No, people can say what they want. Like, I'm not against people expressing how they feel, but if you're going to play certain games, at least know the rules to them. For example, people are saying now the right cares about cancel culture, or they enjoy it. They are going after people and getting them fired for the opinions that they hold online. And it's like, does this come as a surprise to you? Do you think if you are caught up in this wave of people getting fired, that you can go to your HR and say, well, what about that time people were making jokes about George Floyd? Like, this is just not the way the real world works. So what I would have people do is like exercise a little bit more caution and like think a few steps ahead before saying shit in public.
Yeah, no doubt. Understand. And neither one of us, I'm sure, will crash out, right? Like, we know the game. And there have been times where I've been even angrier than this, the election. I know more, I know better than to broach certain conversations in a professional setting. And years ago, I realized that I needed to get off of Facebook. And I temporarily go on when I need to, get in touch with somebody, either from my daughter's school or family, you know what I mean? Like, but otherwise, I got off, man, because I saw what was happening with my colleagues on Facebook and social media in general. I'm like, nope, I'd rather keep this compartmentalized. I think that's what I think. Yeah, I would agree that given the environment, especially Black people, I think it's incumbent upon us to, like, if you're going to talk shit, have a burner account. You know what I mean? So we agree there. And like, I guess you're talking more about practicality and what people need to do given, the reality of the situation, even
Yeah,
amongst us,
but
private,
I don't think a lot of people like understand the reality of the situation, to be quite honest.
bro.
I just don't.
Even when we are talking amongst ourselves, I sense a bit of, well, what did you guys think was going to happen? You know what I mean? And I'm like, well, like, dude, like, Matt, where are you coming from with that? We're just talking amongst ourselves. And I feel like you feel it's a futile exercise to even,
It's not even a futile exercise. Like I think like if people genuinely are surprised at what's happening, then okay. It to me seems like well, for example, people will see racism happening in 2025, and then they'll respond like, "Damn, it's 2025, and this is still happening." And it's like it's baffling to me. It's like being in a dangerous situation and not knowing it until immediate danger happens. It's baffling. For example, there's another one. It's less about like um well, let me say it differently. It just seems like there's a bit of delusion. It seems like people, you included, it seems like you guys think that, hey, if enough facts or enough information is presented, these guys can't get away with what they're trying to do. I think that's just foolish at this point.
so it's foolish of us to, like, believe in the Constitution, the law. Like, I don't see why we're the foolish ones here. Like, we believe in the rule of law. Like, how are we foolish?
Be-
Seems, I mean,
so
for me, go ahead.
I think it's fine to believe in the rule of law if the people in charge believe in it as well. If the people in charge are not trying to actively circumvent those rules that are in place, these standards that are in place, that's just not the reality that we live in.
I don't see what you're getting at. So no one is denying that we have to move a certain way. All right. So we've
This is not
established
about
that.
the way that we have to move. It is more about like thinking about the reality that we live in as opposed to the way that it's supposed to be. It's like things happen and you guys are like, that's not supposed to happen. How is this happening? We're supposed to have checks and balances in place. And it's like, these guys are able to continue to get away with it because you expect them to play by the rules. And that's just not the way it works. There's a great example. Criminals, people who rob and steal, when they're confronted with the police, they know, even if they have guns, that if they just comply with the police officers, they will get to live. They know that even if they have guns, if the police ask them to put those weapons down and they do it, they get to go to jail. And in my estimation, that is a win for the criminals. They know that the police are going to play by the rules, and because of this, they can do whatever they want. And once they get caught, they just have to comply. If we lived in such a society where police encounter criminals in the act and they don't have the option to comply and turn themselves in because they're killed on the spot, things would be a little bit different. And I'm not saying for the better, but criminals would have to behave differently because of the reality of the situation. I think we must live in reality at all times, not in the world that, oh, this is how it should be and this is how it's supposed to be. I'm going to live in that world instead of the real world that we are actually facing when we go outside.
And where does that leave us? Like, what is your point?
The
That
point
sounds
is,
defeatist to me.
it's not defeatist. You cannot make any meaningful change if you're not living in reality. I think that's like the starting point. Once you live in
Brother,
reality, then you can
brother,
begin to
listen,
strategize based on reality, not based on, oh, this is how it's supposed to be.
acceptance is one thing. All right. And I think a lot of us have accepted what's happening. Endorsement is another. And believing things have to be this way, that's a completely separate issue. Who doesn't the man has been elected twice. We've seen an erosion of rights. We've seen the cozying up to, like, we've seen the cronies, we've seen all of, I mean, just blatant on its face corruption, in my opinion. Like, just the complete hypocrisy with things like the Epstein files, and now this thing with the FCC, like, weaponizing that. I mean, we who doesn't accept it? We do, right? But that's a completely different thing than, you don't have to believe things are just meant to be this way. I mean, we do have some agency in it.
I don't believe that things are meant to be this way at all. I think
No, things
that
have to be this way. Well,
I don't
it's
think
meant
that
to be.
I don't think that things have to be this way, and I don't think that they're meant to be this way. I think that that removes agency, and that would be a defeatist mindset. It would just be like throwing your hands up, like, what can we do? I
Well, then,
believe
I
the
mean,
things that are happening because one side is actively making moves to create the reality that we live in. That's the only way this happens.
I guess you're drawing a comparison to when the other side, if you will, I think the last time was 2012. Around then, they had all uh, chambers. And of course, the White House. You're saying then was the time to do something. Is that the, like, I don't, when were Democrats able to do what's being done now?
When they were in power. So this is not me like playing time machine and saying, hey, you when you had the opportunity, you should have done X, Y, and Z. What I'm saying is the people who are in charge right now that they do have the opportunity, they're doing things to secure power in perpetuity. They're doing things to ensure that they never lose again.
Right. Okay. So when was the last time Democrats were in power? Yeah, I don't know what your measuring stick is. But in your opinion, what was that?
So I'm not measuring. This is not a measuring. This is not me making a comparison to like a different time when Democrats were in power. I'm mostly staying in the reality that we're in today. I'm not saying, hey, when the Democrats were in power, let's say it was in 2008, they should have done X, Y, and Z. This is not that. Like, this is not me playing the game of hindsight. I don't think that's useful. And if we were to play that game, we could look at situations like RBG not stepping down. There are plenty uh,
Yeah,
examples
absolutely.
that we could cite. I don't
Absolutely.
think
That's a good,
I,
that's
I
a great one.
personally, sure, but I don't think it's a useful exercise. Is my point. Like, I don't
Now,
play that game. Like,
I mean, I'm saying beyond the abstract of they're in power, what does that mean aside from like I said, up until around 2012, maybe, you know what I mean? Like, so 2010, 2011, and then maybe a little after that, during Biden's administration, I think they may have had it for like a year. But otherwise, like, what are they supposed to do now? Like, that's why they're able to do like, I just don't understand. You're saying, so, okay, the higher I wouldn't want the other side to do some of these things, you know what I mean? Like, if they're not I don't think they need to abandon rules, and so if that means, making all these unconstitutional executive orders, is that what you're saying the next Democratic president needs to do? Like,
No, I'm not suggesting that at all. I mean, it's not outside of the realm of possibility that Democrats never come into power ever again. Like, I don't think people really understand the gravity of the situation. Things are really fucking bad right now. So again, like I'm not saying, hey, this is what the Democrats should have done if they wanted to be in a better position today. There are many things. For example, Joe Biden should not have run for reelection. But again, that is water under the bridge. Kamala shouldn't have been the chosen candidate. Water under the bridge. Like these are things that are, I am not against like looking to the past to forecast into the future about how we can do things differently. But, playing the game of, well, we should have did this instead of that, it's too late for that. The only thing that is within our control today is the future and what we do next. We cannot undo what has been done.
I don't know, man. I mean, because I think that there is a constant what is this completely outside the realm of like politics? I think there's a strain of white grievance and racism that just it pervades every aspect of our lives. We've talked about this before, and I don't think that goes away regardless of who's in power, right? And I think that there is this contingent of like angry white folks, right? And they have to be dealt with. But that's outside of like political, politicking, like or whatever. Like that is just it's an issue. This is now like this with this like I don't look at Trump or MAGA. I don't view it in a vacuum, right? It that is only able to exist because of just ignorance. You know what I mean? Like we are beyond whether you want to raise or lower taxes, what your views on, the role of government, like it's beyond that now. It's become something it's like metastasized into something much uglier. And I don't care how good a game Democrats are playing. People point to Biden or they point to Harris. I don't think it would have mattered. I don't think there was any candidate that was going to beat Trump. I don't, because there were much better candidates in the Republican primary, and they all got murked. So if you're even entertaining something like this, what does that candidate look like that can defeat it? Like it's so out of the realm of it's so illogical. It just people I don't know how to explain it, man. Like I don't get it. So what could Democrats have done to defeat that? I don't think anything.
Then it seems like we've spotted the defeatists in this conversation. Uh, Seriously, I mean, our claim right now is that it doesn't matter what happened. It doesn't matter who they ran. Trump was going to be the guy, period. And if that's your position, then it's one of defeatism. It's not a position that I agree with. Like, again, I'm not here to like say what could have been done differently. But if we were to play the game, it would be one of caring less about the candidates and more about the constituency. Male voters, for example, like young males in this country are disaffected, and the Republicans have taken great advantage of that in a masterful way. Like using vehicles like social media, hooking into these influencers like Joe Rogan, for example, or you have people more on the extreme side like Andrew Tate. Like these are all guys who are shilling for the right, and the left did nothing. They watched this play out like
Mhm,
even far back as Gamergate, like this was stuff.
mhm,
These were things that would be. This was groundwork that was being laid long ago. So it's not like we just magically arrived here. These
mhm.
are like building blocks that were being laid, and it was not something that was concealed. It was wide open, and the left did nothing to combat this. They did nothing to put countermeasures in place to deal with this. They did nothing to appeal to young men, and here we are. You got people
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
Sav, and shout out to him. No disrespect to the guy, but this is a young black man who's living in Chicago. He's had many interactions with law enforcement, and he lives in a very blue city. He knows very intimately what life is like to be black and underserved in that city. And he is, when you bring him into the server, you'll see he is all in on the Trump train. And it's because they have figured out how to appeal to young men like him,
Yeah, no
or
doubt.
just young
I
men in
mean,
general.
I thought he was trolling
He's
because he
not.
really does believe this stuff.
He's not trolling. And it's because, again, there's so many vehicles for this kind of messaging, and it's coming from so many different people. So it's not like just this one guy. It's not a Nick Fuentes in isolation, or it's not a Charlie Kirk in isolation. It's not an Andrew Tate. There are many black people who aren't like your Candace Owens types. There are black people who maybe you might see in a barbershop or maybe you might see in the hood who are spouting pro Trump rhetoric because they've managed to package it in ways that are very appealing to black people.
Yeah, you're right,
So
man.
these
I
are things
can't
that
like
must be addressed,
uh,
like before we even get to the candidate level. Like the
I still
candidate,
don't.
cool.
You're right. I think you're right. I do not think that it counts the groundswell of support that we saw with Trump. I don't. I think that that's some of it. I don't think that there are enough of those people to swing an election. I don't think there are enough salves to swing an election.
But we're not just talking about the Savs. Like he's covering all bases is the point. So that's just one area. He's
Right, and the
attacking people that are
largest.
sensitive about immigration, for example, or
Yeah,
he's
no doubt.
whipping up mania about grocery prices or whatever else, whatever other grievance. Like if some Hispanic person who happens to be an immigrant kills somebody or commits a crime, he knows how to put a laser focus on it, a magnifying glass, and say, hey, this is what's coming to your city. Another brilliant strategy that they did, take people, immigrants from Texas, for example, and ship them in mass to blue states on buses. Like these are all things that this was campaigning. Like a lot of people just saw this as cruelty, and it was, but this is what they were doing to lay the foundation to win the election.
You're right, man. You're right about all of that. I mean, I've even spoken about. Uh, I've spoken about the My Pillow guy. I forgot the name of his network and the apparatus that he's built. Like how sophisticated it is, and the amount of money that's being poured in. God, what is the name of that network, man? But, I think Fareed Zakaria had a special about it. Damn. Oh, can you hear me?
I get you.
Alright, and what was I saying? Yeah, the My Pillow, founder,
Yeah, and you said
multimillionaire.
Fareed Zakaria had a special about it.
Yeah, man, it just kinda, it just amazed me at how intentional they are and how, like, methodical. It's not random, right?
This is the point I continue to make. And people think in this country that racism is about ignorance. It's about backwards people who have incorrect ideas about like non-white people. And sure, that is some of it, but this is a very sophisticated operation. Like racism in this country doesn't look the way that it looked in times past because it is something that is constantly refined. For example, it used to be okay to, call black people or non-white people slurs openly, um,
Mhm.
and it was fine, but that grew unpopular. So there had to be a refinement. If we're going to continue to this racism, and we do want to, we have to do it a little bit differently. It has to be more covert. It has to be in ways that are not immediately clockable, if you will. And this is just the way it has continued to progress in this country to the point where even today, um, it is easy for people to say, hey, this is a relic of the past. If you're still complaining about racism, this is just you making excuses for your failures. Like, I mean, this happens even in conversations that you and I have had about parenting, for example, when I will lay out like causes for some of the behaviors that we see, you will call it out as excuses.
Yeah, not in. Oh,
Like,
okay, bro.
and
Don't
this
do
is
that,
this is
brother.
not me.
Don't
Like,
do that.
this is not me
Don't
necessarily. I mean, this is what you do, and this is not me like picking on you, but I'm speaking to a larger point. Like, and the larger point is because of how refined racism has become in this country, it can, in some contexts, look like something that is a relic of the past, and people who are pointing to it in present times are just making excuses.
I got it. You
So it's easy
hold on.
to gaslight
Let
non-white
me
people about racism.
let me defend my honor here because hey, you are the Neely Fuller acolyte, so let's get that straight, right? You can't you can't.
Okay. Since we are recording, like, give some context. Like, tell the audience what that means.
I know everything is like within a framework of white supremacy. I understand that. Like, I don't explicitly always say that. right? But within that, I don't think even Neely Fuller would say like, well, he passed, but he would have said, it's a choice to go hang out on the corner, or that's the big thing. When we gather to do unproductive things, nothing good comes of it. That's a choice. That doesn't preclude racism or systemic issues, but that is still a choice that I have as an individual make. And so I don't see how that is any different than me saying I can at least make choices about family planning or how I raise my kids. Like, I don't see the difference there. I don't see why you're making a distinction there, because you're very adamant about, being productive with our time, right? Or constructive, I should say, or whatever it is that you always say, you know what I mean? Or the type of music or media that we consume. Nobody's holding a gun to our head and making us do those things. So, yeah, there is.
Nobody's nobody's holding a gun to anyone's head and making them consume things that are unhealthy to them.
No, but what I'm saying, so I'm
No one's
if you're gonna say if you're gonna preach self determination in one respect, I don't see why it can't apply to parenting. Why are you exempting parenting?
I mean, I'm not exempting anything. I believe that people who do want to bring forth children should do so in a very intentional way.
Right.
One of the issues with this is people happen to have sex. It's a very pleasurable experience and it's one that produces children. And we're in a country now where in a lot of places it's going to be increasingly difficult to abort a child in that situation. Now, we could say, hey, it's on you as the person who's engaging in this activity, gambling in the baby casino, to protect yourselves. And hey, I'm all in agreement with that. But once the child is here, it's here within the context. If you're poor, like, I don't know how useful it is for me to say, hey, you have a child now, so be less poor or make better decisions. It's like the decisions that you're able to make are limited to what's available to you or the resources that you have. For example, if you're a mother and the child has been abandoned by the father and you're the sole parent and you also have to work, then you have to leave your child with somebody. And maybe that person that you're leaving your child with isn't the most responsible person, isn't going to feed them in the way that you would, isn't going to ensure that they're not, sitting in front of an iPad for the 6 hours that you're away from them. Like, these are the situations that we face because we're in a community that is impoverished.
Yeah, absolutely.
So even though you may have the best intentions, like the outcomes are strongly tied to the resources that are available to you. And at the point that the baby is here, again, you can't go back and say, well, you should have made better choices about that. Like, the cake has already been baked.
So I think poverty is obviously like that is probably the main driver. Not probably. I would say that, if you look at it, I don't think there's any denying that concentration of poverty leads to these sort of outcomes, or breeds environment to lead to these sort of outcomes. I don't think it is exclusively that.
It's not exclusively that, but it's a big contributor. So we don't have to speak in terms of like, oh, the most or the biggest or this or that. Just a factor.
Right.
It's
But
a
it is
component.
not.
It's a big component.
Okay, so it is what it is. I mean, that the reality is that, we don't have any money. You know what I mean? And our communities are, there's a bunch of urban blight, and we're impoverished, as you said. But
This is also not me suggesting that because that is the lay of the land that we are completely powerless. I don't think that's the case
so
at
what
all.
are you saying?
For example, what I'm saying is by the time people realize the decisions that they need to make or realize the gravity of the situation, because one thing about poverty is if you're in a community where everyone else is impoverished, it is normal. And it is also, in many respects, dysfunctional in terms of the way that people operate. So it's nothing to see trash everywhere, for
Right.
example, or it's nothing to know someone who steals and sells clothes, or it's nothing to see just all of these like maladaptive
Yep.
behaviors and they're just a normal. Is like sex off limits in that context in terms of like the way that we approach it or the way that we think about it? Like, is that the one area? For example, like, well, we're still on the topic of sex. This is one of the most pleasurable experiences that you can get, and it's free. And you want me to like lessen the experience with protection. So these are the ways like that people are considering. Like, these are the negotiations that people are making um, when they're thinking about things like sex. And again, this is a very dysfunctional way to think about it. It is dysfunctional to say, you know what, because this is so pleasurable, I do not want to protect myself reduce my risk. So I'm going to have sex without a condom. I don't think people are thinking about it in that way. This is just like a background process. And it's like, if this is something that is backgrounded and not at the forefront of your mind, then it manifests as having an aversion to safety in that context. It doesn't have to be an out loud thing where it's like, hey, I hate condoms or this or that. It's like, if the situation presents itself and she's here and I'm here and we don't have condoms, like we're still going to move
Yeah,
forward
I
because
think
this
that
is something
might
that we
be
both want
I
to
think
do.
that might be a part of it. It is I mean, I think I think we would all agree that condoms are not, um, comfortable, but, like, I think there is also people finding some sort of value in having kids, being a baby mama and daddy, and I even hate that, like, I've seen it.
So you must ask, and I think this is more like I mean, it happens on both sides. You got men who value, find some value in being, someone's caretaker, and you have women who feel the same way. Finally, someone who will love me unconditionally. Like, again, this is not something that's happening in a vacuum. This is a response to something that has already happened, or an absence of something from the past. Like if you grew up in an environment where you didn't have love or where you were just not cared for in the way that you believe that you should have been or that you should have been, not even just a belief. Like people know mistreatment versus how they should be treated, in my opinion. And if this is something that you've lacked, especially if it's something that not only did you lack, but you've experienced others getting, you're gonna seek that out. Right. This is how people become like hypersexual, for example. Like these are like trauma responses that we're talking about. And they manifest in ways that create problems, knock-on effects.
Yeah, I know, but what I'm saying is, think that you're omitting that people deliberately have kids because they derive some sort of
No, no,
pride
no.
from.
I'm not admitting it. Like I'm speaking to why this is happening. I don't think it's just why, I want to have this kid because it's going to make me feel better as a human being. Sure. But again, that's like doing some hand waving. Like there is something that is driving that behavior is the larger point. And if you want to solve that problem, the one that you're speaking to, people wanting to have babies because they derive some type of like fulfillment from them, you have to address what created that.
Yeah, man, but speaking like, you're
Like, for example, I've never for a second thought, hey, if I have this baby, this is like, I've heard people say, once I had my child, I started going harder as, an adult, or I felt, this is the moment where it all changed for me, where I just knew, like, I was grown
mhm,
now. Like, none of this happened for me. Like, I, I hear people who
I hear
say,
that all the
I
time as
finally
well.
have someone who loves me. Like, and these are just not things that apply to me. And I would venture to say it's because of the shape of my childhood, where I was surrounded by love. And I did have, both of my parents. I grew up in a household with like 8 people. Like, I was surrounded by love. And I was in a dysfunctional environment. I grew up in like almost abject poverty, but I still had all of those people around me, like the people who helped shape me into the person that I am today. So I didn't have like this absence of it. I didn't have a situation where I was like yearning and longing for my dad because he wasn't present. He was there. Same with my mom. Same with my aunt and uncle who were living in the household, and my cousins and their children, and my grandmother who was also living in the house. Like I had all of that. People who didn't have that in their formative years, it like just because you're older now doesn't mean you don't still long for that or that you don't yearn for it. Like there's a gap there, and people want to fill in those gaps. This is how we get those people today who want to have a child to fill in that gap. What they may need instead is therapy, but again, like there's a stigma around that in the
I
community.
mean, that's interesting, but I think that, again, I think there's a bit of, for both black and white, everyone, I think that I just I don't even know if this is just how we're wired as beings, like, to like, having progeny is, like, a source of pride for a lot of people. Just even if marriage is being,
I mean,
and I think it looks different for a lot of
let's
us.
let's accept that. Let's accept that as like a sort of a truth. How would this then go on to explain like the absence of fathers in the black community, for example? I would not say that these guys are having those kids as a source of pride. And if that is the case, it is less about the child and more about the
Yeah, no,
person
it's
themselves.
It's
Um,
clearly not about the kid. It's about even being able to say, "Have kids." And I didn't receive that wake-up call, until having to, and I would see it here and there. I didn't realize how prevalent it was till I got into environments where I was managing, some of these people at work, and everything was, like, centered around for both men and women, like, they would leverage having a kid in so many circumstances. "Why you late?" My kids." I I don't even know how to articulate it, man, because it was like, there was a moment where it, like, clicked for me. I'm like, "This is just sort of like a badge of honor for some people."
well, that's one way of reading it, but I don't know if it's that. For example, if someone's showing up to work late and they're saying, "Hey, it's because of my kid," I don't know if I'd read that as, okay, this person has a kid as a badge of honor. That's why they're always telling me about them when they get to work late or when they had to miss a day or when, it's more like it's a convenient excuse for being
Nah, what
late.
I'm saying is
Like there are consequences.
this is an aggregate of interactions, and wasn't in just one locale, man. It was several places where I'm like, this seems like sort of like cultural moray. Like this is something deeper than this person's, like this specific individual. This is something that we've sort of like encouraged, I think. Because no matter what, you might be in it doesn't matter how poor you are, what your professional prospects are. Like a kid, you're doing something right. Or I think some people view it that way. Like it's just, man, I'm telling you, I know that seems like a bullshit theory. I'm telling you, I've seen it with my own eyes. I've seen it, man. I'm telling you, I've seen it in my family.
I mean, I'm struggling to understand what it is that you've seen. Like, what are you seeing?
Having a kid, like going through that process, like for a woman, it's, you know, there's a distinction, but ultimately it lands at the same place that it does with the men. It's just having, I don't, if there's nothing else that I have, I can say that I'm this. I can say I have kids. And, I think that is some of it. I think that, even like a few years ago, there was like some pact between some high school girls. I don't even know if they had graduated, but they were like, we're all going to get pregnant. You know what I mean? It's like a rite of passage. I'm telling you. I'm telling you it is, bro. I'm telling you, man. Girls,
I mean, I'm not rejecting the claim on its face, like that it could be a rite of passage. But I think especially in like underserved or impoverished or just like fucked up communities, people understand that kids only make life more difficult. Like even the people who have the kids are trying to separate themselves from them, put them off on somebody else. Like there's no shortage of stories where the parents are, available to watch their kids, but they're still putting them off on grandmother, not even grandfather, just grandmother. Like people don't want to be around these kids.
no, I'm not.
They're cramping their
Yeah,
style, to use an old phrase.
think
Like
they're
they,
like, I don't believe that it's about the kids. I believe it's about ticking a box, about being a man. Like I got a baby mama, whatever. I got kids, and then the woman herself. Like I think it's becoming distorted. 'Cause I think not everyone, not speak for everyone, but I believe that in order for us to propagate the species, there has to be some sort of innate drive. I have kids, right? It doesn't matter what.
think, I think it's the experience of the sex is what
No, bro.
drives it.
Nah, man. Not really. I don't think.
That's literally the function of it being a pleasurable experience. Like that's it. That's the draw. Like the side effect is the baby. The side effect is propagating the species, but that is why it's such a
Yes,
pleasurable
and
experience to get
yes,
people to
but
continue to do it.
there's a social layer as well, and I think that there's a social layer.
Like, is it a social layer that like benefits? Is it a social layer that benefits anyone? Sure. If you, I mean, it
There's
certainly doesn't
currency in
benefit black
having
people.
children, bro. There's
Like
currency in having
if I'm
a kid, having a
currency in
family. Yes.
having children, like fam, like we shit on single mothers nonstop. This is a cultural thing. We shit on single mothers. Like this is not limited to black people by any stretch. But even if we just draw the circle around black people, like we shit on single mothers. We look at them like spoiled goods. Like this is there's no beneficial like social currency to being a mother with a
So
child.
you have never been asked how many kids you have,
Yeah, I'm a new father.
and
Like my kid is only 4 years old. Like so there and this is why, in my estimation, it's like there's a thing in the society where it's like, if you reach a certain age as a male and you don't have children, like this is an indictment of your
There
sexuality.
that too,
Like,
yes,
so
that too.
there's that.
So there is that, and I also believe that it's just like, well, what the hell is wrong with this person? So
Well, yes, that's the idea, and this is why people are grasping at straws and concluding like this is
right.
you're defective.
Outside of the sexuality thing,
But
I think the sexuality thing is an
again,
aspect. I don't think that's entirely it, but I think it's like it's just
it's definitely not entirely it. Yes, it's a component, but the larger thing is, it's like this is people like reaching for something, and sexuality is one of the things they come up with. But the general idea, if we want to generalize it, is that you must be defective because you've made it all the way this far without having kids. And I don't know if it's more about it being a social currency as much as it is like we have lots of kids in the community, and someone is siring them, and you aren't one of them. Like, maybe this is an indictment on your ability to attract a female suitor. Like, they're just all of these different things. And they're related to like the patriarchy, first and foremost. But again, like, if you're a mother with kids, let's say you're a mother with 3 kids, like, there's no place in the Black community where it's like, okay, you're just going to be showered with praise, or people are going to look at you as like, oh, yeah, she is doing it. She has 3 kids. Like, people are going to look at
there's
her
some
and feel sorry for her. And if she's not partnered with a male,
I
it's
mean, yeah,
even
some of it
worse.
is a bit contradictory. There's some of that, but I think that also a woman at the age of whatever, 35, whatever, without a kid, it's like, and I think women will put up with like deadbeats or abusive men. They get caught up in something, even if it's very destructive and abusive, they'll get caught up in it just to have that something, right? So I have a kid by this man who's been abused.
Yeah, because in this society, we place a value on women, their beauty, for example. And if you are not able to attract a male suitor, it's the same idea. Something must be wrong with you. And it's even worse for women because we look at them as like having this window, if you will, where they're viable products. And outside of this window, they're damaged goods.
Yeah, I agree.
Like we talk about it in like really tragic ways today. Like we say, if a woman is 30 without a kid, like she's about to hit the wall, like or something
Agree.
like this. Like these are things we say. And if the same woman had a baby earlier and she's no longer paired to the male that she had it with, she's still damaged goods,
Absolutely.
even though she had it within the the viable window of conception. So it's like,
Hey, I know I contradictions, man. I get it. Like it's laughable, but it is what it is. And what I'm saying is that like those type of societal pressures drive, I think, some of the behavior beyond the fact that having sex without a condom feels better.
totally agree. I don't think that's the only driving force.
Yeah, I don't. Prince said he was gonna hop on, but he didn't. All right. Well, I know you got to go. Let's close. Let me ask. All right. Was Charlie Kirk? Excuse me. Was Charlie Kirk racist?
Uh, I would say so. Yeah,
Okay, because we
but that's
Chicago.
that is my opinion based
Well,
on.
remember, like,
Wait,
what
go ahead. Say again.
his actual right before he met his demise, he was about to do that, that whole Chicago routine and, bring up gang violence there. And you said, "Well, is it?"
And even that I take issue with. Even that I take issue with. Even though, like, I do believe he was using it as like a racial dog whistle. If the answer to the question changes based on whether or not we include that type of violence, then the guy has a point.
How
Even
does
if
he
he's
have a
using it
point?
as a racial dog whistle.
How, man?
So listen, how do we define mass shootings in this country?
I don't know the exact number.
And
No,
is
gang violence
gang
isn't that.
violence. Well,
Uh,
this is gang violence isn't that. And this is like the crux of his argument. Like and it again, still a valid argument even if it's used as a racial dog whistle. For example, if gang members in the pursuit of killing one person who is in an opposing gang and they shoot 6 people, that is not a mass shooting.
it's not, no. So you're saying, like, people get caught in crossfire, like, indiscriminately? It's not considered that. You're right, it's not. We know that. That's a separate thing than no, not
That's
the
the
point
point
I'm
he was
making. I'm
making.
trying to deflect from what we know are
That
political no,
brother, brother,
political
you're
mass
missing
shootings
the
are
nuance
not
of what he was doing.
the motivations and context, it's different. It's completely different than whatever is going on in, gang-riddled areas.
I'm aware I'm completely aware of the nuance as it relates to how we define these things. But people who are not on the inside of that, who don't understand this, they're gonna say, "Wait, 6 people were shot and it's not a mass shooting." Like, if you have to give context about why it's not a mass shooting when 6 people get shot,
No, because
you're on the losing side of the
more
argument.
often than not, that sort of random killing isn't happening. That doesn't make it any less sad or unfortunate. I'm just saying, but that's it's really not an issue, man. That is not majority of what's going on. The majority of it is they're targeted shootings. They're like it's and it sucks, but you can't. The solution, the solve, as you would often say, is not the same for that as it is. Someone going into a synagogue and shooting.
That is certainly not the argument that I'm making. What I'm saying is something even more basic and something that he is playing off, which is why he was able to run with this for so long. If 6 people are shot, even if this is a targeted shooting and only one person, they're trying to shoot one person and they accidentally shoot like 5 others because the guy's at a park, at a barbecue, and they're trying to get him by any means, and they got a switch on the Glock and they just start shooting, and people who are unrelated get shot, still not a mass shooting. Like, again, if you have to explain why that case is not a mass shooting when n number of people get shot, you're on the losing
So
side of the argument.
disingenuous.
So I agree.
It is so disingenuous and like
I agree. This is why I believe this is again, like, I am aware of why he's using that data point in the way that he's using it. But I also believe that it is an effective use of the data point, especially for people who do not understand why we make this distinction in terms of like how we count mass shootings versus gang related violence. Like, if you don't know that and you have to be told why it's not a mass shooting, again, like, person who's having to do the explaining in that case is on the losing side of the argument, because any reasonable people will say, "Oh, 6 people got shot. Why isn't that a mass shooting?" And then you have to come in, "Well, it's not a mass shooting because this is gang violence and it was targeted against specific people. And this is not just indiscriminate or politically motivated or whatever." Like, once you're on that side of the argument,
you're on
you
the side
fucking
of like
lost. Sucks.
you hit the
Unfortunate.
like it's like
Yeah.
it is the most egregiously it is so laughable. Like it is so and it's not even a dog whistle at this point. It's a foghorn. It's so ridiculous, bro. Like, come on. And it's like, so now you're concerned about the nomenclature. Like, we need to call everything a mass shooting. Seriously?
Brother, again, if 6 people are shot in one case and it's called a mass shooting, and 6 people are shot in a different case and it's not called a mass shooting, people are going to say, "Why is that?" And if you're the person who has to explain, "Well, it's not a mass shooting because it's gang violence and it was targeted," and again, on the losing side of the argument.
Good man.
What up, P?
What's up, Bert?
Hey, why did Peas leave? He
Pick up the
was
server?
mad because she was like, "Well, we're in dead server talking." I was like, "Well, why the fuck are y'all over there?" And I guess he bounced after that, but I don't know.
Man, no, Fees is mercurial. He'll come back.
Big facts. And no use in speculating anyway. He left and he left.
Yeah, he'll be back. Fees is Fees. Yeah, that's one person I wouldn't look too deeply into it about. Did y'all guys talk about the Charlie Kirk shit?
We did for a little bit at the beginning. Right now, we actually are ending on the Charlie Kirk conversation. The last words that he said, where he's talking about mass shootings in the country. And Charlie Kirk asks, he says, "Are we including gang related violence?" Yeah.
Then you know.
And then what happened. Keep in mind before you finish your sentence that we are recording. We got to break ahead.
I know.
But just as a heads up.
Yeah, I know. He's seen it was a sound he never heard from a place he never saw.
Understood.
But yeah, I would say this too regarding like the things, because I know they say that our monitoring discourse. I ain't 100% sure. Have heard somebody say that, but I think this shows the hypocrisy of the right and kind of makes them seem kind of soft. I'm gonna tell you why, because when they're dishing it out, they're ruthless and vicious and very matter of fact about it. But the shoes of the other foot, oh wow, it's the worst thing ever. They trying to destroy people. I mean, they're in power. They got they got the levers of power. So but I just find it ironic.
I read it a little bit differently. I feel like these are. I mean, again, like if if your goal is to point out people on the right and say, hey, you guys are hypocrites, and that's the prize you win, being able to call them hypocrites, hopefully that's enjoyable. But they're getting people out of the paint. And they operate on a by any means policy, by any means necessary policy. So it's like, hey, if it's good for the goose, it's good for the gander. If we
Oh,
can be canceled for the things that we say, then even though we claim to be against cancel culture, when the rabbit has the gun, we're going to play by the same rules.
yeah.
Like, I don't think these are people who are bound by rules to begin with. Like, they do whatever suits them. And I think it's best to look at it through that lens. So if it means like I am against snitching, but if I get lined up and I gotta face 20, I'm going to snitch to get out of that situation, even though I'm against snitch. This is the kind of game they play. This is how
Mhm.
they operate.
Yeah.
Self-preservation over all. Soonest power builders, like they're on
But
board with the agenda.
actually, you posted a video about it on the day it happened. I think I watched it, and ever since I saw that video, I moderated my because like on the internet, and social media, you can get I don't say radicalized, but you can get drawn down little rabbit holes of shit you agree with. But video you posted of the Muslim gentleman, he gave it a very nuanced, he explained very well why he has his stance, like kind of adopted his stance is of he shouldn't have been killed, but I am indifferent to his death. You know what I'm saying? So because killing him was the worst thing ever because he made him more famous and bigger than he ever was in life. And now his death and his battle be used as a sword by Trump and the right. So at the end of the day, that guy who killed him, he didn't weaken Charlie Kirk or silence Charlie Kirk. He made him louder and he created more Charlie Kirks. So
Big facts.
him doing that was only counterproductive for what he really wanted.
Assuming we know what he wanted. And
That's true.
I don't know if
That's
it's safe to make any assumptions just yet. I don't think the
true.
guy's
Okay.
cooperating with law enforcement. So
Yeah.
what we can say for certain is even before we knew who this shooter was, the Trump administration had their mind made up about who was responsible. And they've stuck to that narrative and they're not wavering from it. It doesn't matter what facts come out. And this is what I've really been trying to communicate. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, we can find out that this guy is a stone cold conservative. The narrative has been set. The ship has sailed. Like, this is a result of liberal extremism. And that's the story that they're going
Yeah,
to
but
stick with,
all right,
no
let
matter
me
what.
No, I mean, let's pick that. It's kind of funny because if you look at the tea leaves from the last 10 to 15 years, you kind of seen this shit coming. People just take it seriously, but go ahead.
so you're right about that. And what I will say in response to you, Matt, is like, all right, he got killed. He was murdered, right? That's heinous, unacceptable. We all understand that, right? And that there's nothing like controversial about like stating that, right? And normal people do not dispute that. They found the person, and I don't think the left is clinging on to the idea that he is MAGA or on the right or whatever. All right, or at least I'm not. I don't. A Democrat didn't do this. Republican didn't do this.
I got
Uh,
an anecdote. I got an
but
anecdote
I'm
about
saying
this
like,
exactly.
well,
You know Sam,
let me
right?
just say this: like a crazy person did this, right? And that's the person that should be held accountable.
Facts.
Like this imagined fault of either political party. It's
Left or
it's
right?
nonsense, bro. Like it's
Yeah, it's
stupid,
stupid.
and it's like the, the
'Cause-
the fringe elements of either party. I don't believe they're the majority. Like again, it's a nut job who did this shit, and they're not receiving instructions from Gavin Newsom or Nancy Pelosi or Ron Paul or Rand Paul, whoever. Like it's crazy. Go ahead, man.
Sav, for example, Sav, Matt knows it was Charlie Kirk died. Savage went fully down MAGA. And like the day he was arguing, and he was saying the guy who killed Charlie Kirk was a leftist. He says all the last major mass shootings have been by transgender people. And he says it's a left problem, they're radicalizing people. And I'm like, bro, you don't know what you're talking about. We don't know anything. We don't know his political affiliations. We don't know what he believes in. You don't have a manifesto. You're just going off vibes of what you want to biases you want to confirm.
Well,
We
this is
don't.
just not true. He's not going off vibes or just biases. He is receiving this messaging from somewhere and he is repeating it.
Yeah.
It is much more focused. He is receiving this messaging from somewhere, whatever media he is consuming, and he is echoing it. That's
But it's not. But it lacks any critical thought because it's about
right.
okay. If you like, I did some research into what his political views was.
Like,
We don't have anything. We don't know what he believed in. So
brother,
left or the right is crazy.
you're making a mistake. That has already happened. The Trump administration has already blamed who they blame for it.
Oh, that's
And
facts,
you're
and I get
you're
that.
you're and you're here caught up talking about, well, we don't know anything about this guy. Before he even was identified, they were making these claims and blaming this person or that person. That's kind of the point.
Yeah, of course,
They are shaping the narrative and they are not wavering from it. So if you believe that, well, all we need to do is have enough information and evidence come out about who this guy really is, and if he's really a conservative, then they're going to be forced to walk all this narrative back about it being leftist extremism. If you think that's going to happen, then I mean, I'm not sure how much
but
more
man,
evidence you need to see.
but I get what you're saying, but at the same time, I cannot. I mean, as a semi-rational person, I cannot help but use
Right.
logic.
And I expect you guys to use logic. Um, I mean, for your own edification, what I'm saying is in the larger scheme of things, it doesn't matter.
I can't agree with that.
I know it doesn't matter. I know narratives, perspectives, and people pushing their agendas is what matters. People
Well, yeah,
believe what they
that's
hear
one
and see
thing,
from
and I
people they
agree with
trust.
I agree with
I
Prince.
get
Like
that.
people are gonna like man,
But at the
like
same, but I'm gonna get off. But at the same time, it's like we have entered a new era where everybody is entitled to their opinion, and true, but every opinion shouldn't be heard because a lot of these opinions are
right.
ignorant and ill-informed, and they're being sent to
No, that's
boost.
right. I
Go
mean,
ahead, right?
this is stupid, man. Like this is the way this has been like the, like I told Matt earlier, the way he's being whitewashed and the characterization of not only Charlie Kirk, but then like they're trying to leftist, I guess, propaganda and babble is what got him to do it. It doesn't even add up. It doesn't. And I get people believe what they want to believe. And to Matt's point, he's like, "Well, it doesn't matter because this is what the president said, right? And this is what people want to believe." And I'm like, "Okay, so we can accept that that's what's happening. We don't have to like cede ground to these people. Like this is stupid, man. Like,
But this is the thing. Do you have the ground to cede to them in the first place? You can reject this all day as you have. What I'm saying is it doesn't really matter because they're not like seeking your permission to manufacture consent
and like
for
I
what they
said,
plan to do. Like you don't have the ground to
no,
cede is
well,
the larger
even
point.
and like I said before, even amongst ourselves, like, all right, we're outnumbered. Obviously, like we're outnumbered, greatly outnumbered. But like we can at least we have that. We have autonomy in some sense, right? Like I don't have to. This is bullshit. And I think like most black people, like you hear anything from like you watch a video, you don't even need to watch a lot of shit. You can watch like one or two things from this man. Immediately pick up on the dog whistle. You know what I mean? Like it's a racist guy, right? You know what I mean? And like, all right, so this is no one to feel bad about. It sucks that he was killed. We don't condone murder, but what I'm saying is like, so in that respect, I think most black people do not agree with like trying to valorize this man, right? And then on the other hand, like in a more in a broader sense, as far as like the motivations, like there's no evidence of this guy being a leftist. He could not have been indoctrinated, in my opinion, at Utah at some college in Utah. Like that, it doesn't make sense. I'm so frustrated because it's so illogical. It does raise
You get what breakfast commerce found. It's like it make you think like, what the hell these folk talking about? Like, am I going crazy? Like, what's going on here? Like, I know 1+1 is 2, but you telling me equal 3.
and what matters,
Like, come on now.
right?
That's what it feels
What
like.
matters saying is that he doesn't disagree with us. This is, like this is crazy. That if he's saying it doesn't
It
matter,
doesn't matter.
it
You
irritates
gotta
that
realize
feels that it doesn't matter. Yeah, but yeah,
I'm gonna tell he's right though. I'm gonna tell you why he's right. Because like breakfast, I think you underestimate for lack of better terms. I think you underestimate how many people in this country are really stupid and are also willfully stupid. They are proud and dug into the ignorance, and they willfully ignorant. They will defend it. So it's like these are not people coming with good faith and really want what's best. So these are people who have their beliefs. They have their things they believe are true, and they think everybody should believe what they believe. And if you don't believe what they believe, you're the problem. You're the enemy. And if you have that kind of mindset when it comes to something like government or the world at large, you don't live in reality for one. I think that's a bigger issue. I think most people in today's world don't live in reality. They live in social media realities.
I don't understand how I can be a product of public education in the South. I grew up in the deep South. Grew up in Florida. Went to high school in South Carolina. Like I don't I don't understand how like even the like So I
We all did. We all grew up in with some high
but
schools
so
and
I'm
stuff.
like, okay, I get it. Like it's always been what it's been, right? Like, and I don't need them to like love me or kumbaya with me or like say Black Lives Matter. Like I like it's fine. Like I get it. Like a lot of people are we're tribal by nature, right? Like that's fine. You like your own more than you like me. That's fine. Like, but it's just like we're like even black people that are on some like militant type of shit. Like we don't actively go out of our way to like hate other people. Like that's what's so confusing to me. Like
And the difference is, I can explain what I can explain what you're describing. Black people, because of our history, we are taught to be loving and accepting. So we don't look at the world as like how white people do it, right? And I don't mean all white people, but the white people we're talking about here. There are swaths of American white people in this country who really believe that
yeah,
this is their country, that they built it, they died for it, and they'll be damned for anybody to take it. And they feel like they're not being heard. They feel like they're underrepresented, and they think the reason their lives was bad and they're suffering, they're poor and broke,
yeah,
is because of black people, immigrants, gays,
yeah.
and Jews, and everybody else like that.
I agree.
These are people who
Not
wholeheartedly believe that shit. You can, and no matter amount of evidence to, and no matter amount what evidence you can show these people to the contrary, that hey, the reason you're fucked up is because your government's lying to you, fucking government selling you out to corporations. They have a system of belief built around white
I
supremacy.
told Matt this. I said, man, like we can talk about how poor of a campaign that Harris ran or like Biden shouldn't have that he was gonna run for reelection. Like all the mistakes that Democrats make or whatever, like I get that. Like to your point, like there's a segment of like white America that is so gone. Their grievances are so deep. And this goes back to Reconstruction. Like you're mad at these like because that like because there was half stepping with Reconstruction. It should have either been we're gonna like deal with these people how they should be dealt with because they were in my opinion it was treasonous, or we're gonna like completely
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Reconstruction, the ball dropped Reconstruction because they should have had those
well
people executed, locked up, and no, they want to bring
but
them back into the fold. That means those people should be a.
I think you can trace it back to that. I think like there's always been like this. I mean, like I said, like half stepping is like, what are these people? And these people were like, I don't know, man. They like I don't know if I would say they should have been executed. I don't know that the South like you're either going to deal with the South or you're going to rebuild it properly.
I mean, also too, like I agree with you saying too, but you also realize the left. I think the left went too far left. And what I mean by that is there was an era where, like, anytime you say anything that was that people, I mean, okay, it's not shouldn't bash gay people or anybody, but there's a difference between the council culture of the 2010s. I think they really put a bad taste in a lot of people's mouths. A lot of people felt like these are crimes that were committed 10, 20, 30, 40 years ago. Why y'all now just coming about it? Even though it's sexual assault, a lot of people feel like you should have came at the time that was happening. And what the wrongness, rightness of that's besides the point. These are just small little things of people that's put a bad taste in people's mouths because these are people who they love to look up to for all these years, and now they're being fired. Then you have even though it wasn't large, then you had the LGBT community that being pushed so hard in the media. It taking up every social media after it was about gay this and gay that. Again, I'm not necessarily, I don't have anything against it, but this is a Christian country. A lot of people do have a problem against that. Oh, a lot of this shit too is like, I feel like a lot of people who are just in the middle or moderate, I guess they got grossed out or turned off about how hard the left was when they was winning power too.
I
That's a
agree.
coach
I
part of this
agree.
too, I believe.
Resentments were like grown because of that, and like even man, like we talk about it in the server. There's a website or a forum that a few of us are were previously active on. But even if someone like I consider myself pretty liberal, and we were like talking about allowing transgender people to compete in sports or whatever, and I'm like let
I mean, and see, and that's a good point too, because like that was one thing. Like that was nowhere
right,
enough to
bro, and
defend
so
it.
that's
It
what
was like
that's
end of the day,
my point.
man, the back
Yes,
off of it.
like that is something I'm like. Even I try to be as open minded as I can be, and I'm like that is ridiculous. You are biologically this or that, and we're not talking about gender, right, or whatever. How if gender is a social construct, that's fine, whatever. Let it be that. But like
Yeah, We
We're
talking
talking
about
about
we talking about sex,
right.
your biological sex.
And
Yeah.
so, like, yeah, I think that that was that did some harm to the left, the message on the left. I agree.
Yeah, because they'll feed us some bullshit that because it's like you're telling me that a person who's a transgender person is a woman and they're just the same kind of woman as a woman who's a cisgender woman. No, I can't buy that. I'm sorry. And most people ain't gonna buy that. If they would have kept it saying, "Hey, look, leave these people
Right.
alone and let them live their lives," that's the
Uh,
line. They should stop that. But they tried to make people forcing on
Bro, that's
people,
what I was
and
just
that's what
about
they
to
fucked
say.
up
Like,
with.
I think what they were like, I think what they were trying to get at was that people live their lives, and I agree. I might not agree or understand with like what people, you know, I don't understand it. You know what I mean? Like, I don't understand how someone can be born one way and view themselves in another way. But a lot of people don't understand things that I believe were my lived experience. That's all I'm saying, like, and I think they should have stopped there, but they it got a little out of hand, but I don't in my opinion, it still doesn't
Mhm.
how does it lead to this? How does it lead to MAGA? How does it lead to just blatant
But we can trace it back. We can trace it back. Like at first, it started off
Yep,
with the Tea Party
yep,
when Obama was elected. Then you had the incel. Like I mean, the incels thing had a thing to do about it. It's a lot of young white men, a lot of Asian men, a lot of Hispanic men who ain't having sex, and that makes young men angry and radicalized. Like, a lot of shit was going on. If dudes getting consistent bops. A lot of shit that was going on, or just had women to deal with. They wouldn't have as much political anger and turmoil. But you got a lot of mediocre looking guys who feel like they deserve a beautiful, or I mean, not even a beautiful woman, just a pretty woman that's theirs, and they could run, and they don't have that because they were under the belief that a lot of people believe their birthright was to be married, have 2 kids, and have their own home and shit like
yep.
that because their fathers had it, grandfathers had it, and now they look like they ain't gonna have that shit.
We talked about that earlier as well, like societal
Mhm.
there's like a social pressure for those type of things, beyond just wanting to like 'cause I think we're kinda, like, hardwired to wanna, like, have sex and all that, for biological reasons, but, like, beyond that
And, I see. My bad, I got to cut you off. But I seen a stat that says for men like 30, either 30 or 35 or 30 younger, only like 20 to 30% of them have children, while like 80% of women or 70% of women over the age of like 21 has kids already. So that means a lot of men ain't really having sex and having kids. And that plays a very
keep
big social
seeing
thing,
sobering numbers like that, like,
I think.
I think we all do, like, yeah, it's a problem. I don't think it's a left or right. I don't think it's a partisan thing, like,
It's a, soci-
it is a
it's a
problem.
societal
I'm
problem.
not, like, like, the red pill people and the what was the dude's name?
But get real, the red pill was a pipeline straight
Right,
into the
but that's the
conservative party
and
too, the rap
again,
wing,
like,
because
bro,
like you know,
like, I get it, they exploited it, they win in this sense, like, they did it, they did the shit, but despite that, I can still agree that it is a problem, like, even if the right capitalized on it, like, there's a problem with men, black and white or whatever race, feeling disaffected, feeling like they can't, make a living and raise a family, that is a problem. We agree, we all agree on that, we can see it. We live it, like, we're all living it. As men, we're living it.
mhm.
You know what I mean? Like, I get it.
And the anger of being like I call it horny anger. That's a very because that's an anger that turns up to society because if a man can't get the women he want or get women at all, he
Yeah,
starts to resent women.
absolutely.
Then that becomes into well, these bitches shouldn't be have rights and places in society. Like a lot of these guys want women to be like that, not have jobs, not go to school, and forced to have kids because they feel like it's going to make women come back into a place where
They think
they
it's
can
gonna
have them
solve the
again.
issue. It's not. Well, I
It
mean,
might, it might, shit. I
I
don't
think
know.
if women, if someone wants,
Let's force every man to have a woman. Let's force every woman to get with a man.
if a woman wants to be a homemaker and stay at home wife or whatever, and have a bunch, that's her choice. That's fine. I don't have an issue. I don't have an issue with that. I think when you start talking like, well, this is what they need to be doing, and they shouldn't be using birth control, and that's crazy to me. I don't.
It is crazy, but it's the logical conclusion from the red pill because if you the red pill is all about controlling the women, force women to liking me and being with me. It's basically what it is. Matt, you want to chime in?
Breakfast says this sounds crazy, and I think to a lot of reasonable people it would. But we're having a conversation about young males who are disaffected, males who can look to the men in their past and see that those men have had more than they have, even as far as like their access to women. And these men are not rational actors. So I think it is attractive to them, this idea that women will have to leave the workplace and will consequently be more desperate. And this will make the choosing pool for men a little bit wider. Like men won't have to be as attractive to, attract a woman because these women are desperate and they need to be paired with men for their own survival. I think that kind of idea is attractive to a lot of men, quiet as kept. And it's not
It
even
is.
quiet anymore. It's very loud.
I mean, Charlie Kirk that's Charlie Kirk kind of thing.
Yeah, he would tell people that he would tell women that if you're gonna go to college or university, when you do arrive, you need to be trying to pair with a man. Like that should be your number one priority. He would even refer to it as being the Mrs. degree.
Wow.
Like if you're going to university,
Do you have a
go
clip
to
of that?
find your husband.
You have a clip of it?
Say again? I mean, I could dig one up. This is like something. I've been
The
talking about the
lady,
Mrs. degree.
y'all know a couple years ago, this lady, I forgot, I'm gonna bring her name up because I forgot her name. She gave a speech at the graduation ceremony at Princeton University, and that was her main topic. She said, "If the females in this graduation class, y'all should find your man because this is the best category, best statistics of a man that's out there." So I hope you didn't spend your 4 years, partying. This should have been your 4 years looking for a husband. I'm about to post it on the chat.
I don't think that's an extreme thing to say, to be quite honest. Like even coming from a woman, this is not to say that the women who are going to college should, abandon their intellectual pursuits, but these are some of the best quality potential partners that you're ever going to encounter in your life. That's just facts. Like in this period, the book that we read, this is from Richard Reeves, and he has two books that we read in the book club here. One of them, he mentions this, and he says the exact same thing. So I don't disagree with it on its face, but Charlie Kirk, again, is using that to launder a different kind of talking point.
He's not talking about the betterment of women when he says that. He's saying that because he wants women to be in a position in society and in the family.
But again, because again, this is one of his powers. Like the guy, even though he said plenty problematic things during his tours around the world, around the country, debating people or just giving talks at conferences or being a guest speaker, he would say some things that are reasonable and attractive to young men.
I mean, not to throw Sav in here, but that was Sav. Sav likes to point out to the things he says that's somewhat reasonable. And that's not all the other shit he said. You ignore that.
But the other side of it is it depends on where he's encountering these videos. There are a lot of people who have seen Charlie's content and they've only seen the more positive content. And there's no shortage of it. Like there's a lot of content where he's like, hey, young men, you need to shape the same thing that happened with Kevin Samuels. Like Kevin Samuels said a lot of positive shit. He would talk to young men and say, hey, if you do want to get paired with a woman, because this is why you're calling me up, you're trying to, have me do this analysis of you, see how you look and give you feedback, you need to get on top of your game. You need to be working 60 hours a week. He would give these young men advice that would be pretty sound, in my opinion, but the rest of his show would be comprised of shitting on women.
Man, you got to throw, man, that's kind of the game, because Charles White does that too. You throw out some bullshit to catch people's ears, then you throw in some good shit too, so people don't think you're just a fool. There's a balance, you got to work it out.
So even when it comes to somebody like a Charleston White, the people who haven't seen his more reasonable content and have only seen the extreme shit, they will look at you crazy if you've experienced this directly, Prince, like as a person who's seen a larger breadth of his content. Like you've seen the more extreme things and you've seen where he's in court, for example, petitioning for the kids in his community, like that kind of thing. So the content is there for both sides of who this person is, but some people are only seeing a thin slice of the content, a thin slice of the person.
So I posted a link in the chat. So I'm sorry, it wasn't a commencement ceremony. She posted in the Princeton paper, and it was in 2013. And she said women should find their husband in college. It was like same thing Kirk said.
That's not an unreasonable thing to say, in my opinion.
It's not a bad thing.
But the women, they were pissed off at her.
Of course, because she's saying this in an environment where feminism and women's autonomy is being promoted. Wait, you're telling me I'm going to college and ostensibly for, intellectual pursuits and to be independent, and you're telling me I should be looking for a partner in this environment? Like
And
it will come off to be insulting in many ways. Go ahead.
there's another angle too. A lot of women, we have a culture where we obsessed with being young and youth. So a lot of people feel like I'm too young to settle down, or I'm too young to get married. I don't want to use my youth to be free. So they think, once you get in your 30s or your 40s or whatever, you'll settle down and get married. But it don't necessarily work that because, like I said, you don't pick up baggage, shit don't happen, and the best pool of mates are just are in college.
Do
But
you
yeah.
think that's do you think that's a cultural thing though? Because like for example, I work in the corporate world for almost 15 years, and white people, I don't see that happen in Indians as well. I do see that in black communities though.
All races, all cultures do it. It's a product of feminism. It's a product of women's having more freedoms and more rights as women's live. And it's not saying it's a bad thing, but think about it like this: like you're told as a young girl that women before you were constrained. A lot of them, they were constrained. They didn't have rights. They couldn't do what they want to do. And now you're one of the first generations of women with all your rights and freedoms. In your mind, you feel like you're playing yourself as a woman instead of womanhood back by settling down and being with a square guy and being that woman. Like, no, you want to be a girl boss. So it's like, it's a mixture of all that because white women do it too. Like,
I disagree though, but I don't want to make it a race. I'm just saying from my personal experiences.
I get what you're saying.
Hold on, hold on, P. Because he's speaking to his experience in the corporate environment.
Go
I
ahead,
think
go ahead, boss.
go ahead.
No, I was saying I disagree because in my corporate experiences, I seen more Indian women at a younger age, more white women at a younger age, more Jewish women at a younger age getting married compared to the minority counterparts. It's a cultural thing. Isn't a culture to define you a husband, especially white women that is raised in the household with a father. You're going to find your husband. You're going to get married. Same thing with Indians as well. They make sure their kids get married. So I don't think it's a feminism thing. It's an American culture thing tied to hip hop when it comes to I don't need a man, this and that, but you rarely see her kind of get married anyway.
I would let me jump in really quickly, P. As a person who relates to his experience, like I've seen it. Like even as far as 10 years back when I was starting out my career, there would be younger women in the office. And in this space, this was mostly like white and Asian. When one woman in the office got engaged, like the whole tenor of the environment shifted because all of the other women were angling for the same things for the men that they were dating. So it is a dual-sided thing. But if you're a woman who's seeking out a partner to get married to, the men have to also be marriage minded. So I would venture to say if there was a black woman in that same environment or black women in those same corporate environments, they too would want to be married. But if they were exclusively dating black men, this is a cultural critique. I would say that they would have a harder time because maybe the young men, their counterparts, would not be marriage minded. Especially if they're working in a corporate environment, because they understand, like the black men who are working in these corporate environments, they understand that the world is kind of their oyster and they want to play. Like they worked hard. They've gotten into a position where they're making a lot of money, more money than they've ever earned. And they want to have fun. They don't want to like immediately get tied down. So I would say some of that is cultural.
I'm not gonna say y'all guys wrong, but I just say from the thing you talk about personal experience. I mean, I just remember me being in college. I finished college in 21, right? And I remember it was majority black. So I'm live in Atlanta, so Georgia State was majority black. But it was a sizable Asian. It was majority black and Asian. So it was blacks was the largest. It was Asians the second largest, and whites then was white people, right? And from my experience with all the young white people there, they're more liberal. Because Atlanta's a liberal city. Especially going to a Georgia State, you're a more liberal person. Because if you were more conservative, you would go to a Georgia Tech or a UGA or something like that. And so for those pools of white and Asian people I've seen, a lot of them weren't married in college. I could be wrong. I don't know these people personally.
But that's the thing. Even if they weren't married, like in college or shortly after, like it is something that they're actively pursuing. Like they're dating for marriage.
Yeah.
So even if they made it into the corporate environment where they're working, the men that they're dating, like they're not out here fucking around. Like these are ones who are trying to get married and seated up as well.
I don't have a problem with that. I don't have a problem with having that mindset. To the exclusion of intellectual pursuits or doing what they want to do as women independently. Yeah, that to me is where it gets extreme and weird. But I have a couple friends and frat brothers who met their partner and their eventual spouses in college. That's fine. Like I don't that's okay. But when you take it to the extreme and, you know, like to suggest that that's what you should be here with the sole intent to do, that's where it gets crazy for me. Yeah.
I mean, if Matt, my question, Matt, if you have a daughter and you send her off to college, right? I think you would want her to focus on her books way more than trying to find a husband. So that,
It's not
Right.
like a one or the other thing.
Yeah.
It's not a one or the other thing. Of
and can't,
course, like if I'm sending my kid to school,
I mean,
if I am sending my kid to school, I do want her first and foremost
right.
to be focused on her studies. But I do understand at the same time that these are some of the best possible partners that she's going to find. Like when she's outside of that environment,
But
once she's outside of that environment, is going to get rougher, especially
let's
because
just
she's a black girl.
Let me just let me
let's point at that more too. But okay. I'm gonna say I'm just gonna get this off real quick. But I feel like you gotta teach and raise a child how to date. Why I said because if you take a child who's been sheltered their whole entire life, you sit them off the college and say go date and find your mate. How are you gonna be sure that child is not going to be consumed with love? Because at a young age of being in the early 20s or late teen years, you fall in love at the drop of a hat, and you will literally put everything on the line because you think you love this person. It takes a very mature and strong-minded person to not fall in that trap, and you need a support system. But go ahead.
I think that, like, for example, I read old newspapers. There's an old newspaper. It's like it's the first, I think, black newspaper. It's called the Philadelphia Tribune, and based in Philly. It go all the way back to the 1800s. Every week and every day the paper was published. It was published 3 times a week. They had full-fledged, like almost 2 pages of black people getting married at 17, 18, 19 years old.
That was a different time, though, brother. I mean, hold on, my bad, I'm sorry. What year was? What year?
This is going back 1930s, 1940s, 1950s, 1920s.
Oh,
Our culture has to get back to that. Our culture has to get back to that point of getting married.
I ain't gonna lie. For some reason, I don't like
But
this.
marriage
I
is
don't know why.
looked down upon in our culture. The nigga get more credit. The nigga will get more credit fucking multiple bitches than being a one wife taking care of his kids. He get more respect in the hood. He get more respect than, you know what I mean? So we got to get back to that. There's nothing
You know
wrong with
what?
getting married and loving.
Hey, Lacey, I think you kind of called me out because in my mind, like I have some resistance to this idea, but I think that's what it is. Because in my mind, the family man's a square. I'm not saying, and obviously that's a stupid way of thinking, but that's how I've been conditioned in the culture.
And that's exactly what he's speaking to right there.
He's like, you want to be a player, you don't be like I'm taking wife and kids and doing family trips, man. I'm a player. Because even guys who are fathers, like they still want to be still live like they're single. It seems.
That's
Well,
not true, bro. You're stereotyping.
it there is a stereotype to that, but it is more about the environment that you surround yourself with. Like, if you're a young married man and you're hanging out with single men, those are men who are seeking out women and not necessarily for marriage. And I think environment is crucial. Like, if you're a young married man, you need to be around other young married men. You
I agree.
gotta hang up that other shit where you're hanging with single men. It's just
Or
not
have
gonna work
older
out well.
mentors.
Or
Yeah,
have older mentors, yes. Like, you have to have people around you that model good behavior.
Like my homeboy, like my cousin, he's married. He's been married for like 5 years, but all his friends are single for the most part. And it's like he been trying to tell us to get married so we can be like him, but I ain't focused on that shit. Me and my other partner ain't either. So I can tell like he just can't do the shit we can do. You know,
Of course not. So if he comes and hangs out with y'all, and let's say that there's a woman who's like making eyes at him, who finds him attractive, are y'all gonna like tell him? Well, let me frame this a little bit differently. Are y'all gonna encourage him to like get at her?
I'm not gonna encourage him, but I'm not gonna discourage him either.
You a bad friend, bro. It's like,
There's a problem. But the thing is, like, while you call that a bad friend, like, I don't think that he would consider himself to be a bad friend.
No, I can say like I'm like in my mind, I'm being loyal to my boy. I'm gonna lie for him. I'm gonna try to cover up for him. Like that's my boy. I mean, that's how I look at it.
So, and I think the larger point here is like, if you are a married man, even if you are hanging with single people, they have to be single people who respect marriage. Because if they don't, it's just like any other relationship. And if there's another bitch around and she's giving you eyes and she's giving you a little play, then what's the problem?
It's funny because I remember there been times like this too. Cause like actually, he was like we went to a friend's gaming, so his wife in the car. There was a girl flirting with him and shit like that. It was funny too because I was laughing with it because it never was my mind to start say try to talk him out not to do it. But he was doing it. He was playing. He was serious about it, but he was entertaining it. In my mind, I thought it was funny. So I didn't know that I've been there before. But here's the thing, it was so normalized for me because like all my other friends think like that, my brothers think like that, my cousins think like that. For a long time, I thought it was normal to have more than one girlfriend because all the older guys around me, like my older brother, my older cousins, I saw them with multiple girls. They have a girlfriend, then they'll go to another girl house and take me, and I see them like that was a normal thing, part of my childhood.
Yeah, that's what we're talking about, the environment. But question though, do you think this is a healthy lifestyle?
It depends. Like if you're a bachelor, like if you're a bachelor, like, I'm not committed to any one woman, but I'm talking about some women. There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, living a bachelor lifestyle. Now, if
But
I'm
that's
committed to,
he didn't ask if anything is right or wrong with it. He asked if you think it's a healthy lifestyle.
I mean, yeah, a young single man talking about multiple women, that is healthy, man. I think that's healthy. I mean, don't get me wrong, it can be unhealthy because if you don't know how to control your pocket, meaning what most dudes don't, they let because you end up having babies and drama and all that shit. If you control some sort of self discipline, yeah, I think it's healthy. It means a way to do it. Don't be out here being reckless.
I don't. Maybe there is a relationship between a lack of discipline and the desire to date multiple women at the same time. I would venture to say that the men who are disciplined are looking for some type of stability, and that usually comes in the form of one woman, not multiple.
Yeah, I'm not the best person to have these kind of conversations with because
No, I disagree. I disagree. I think if we all had the
Tee me
same
up, bro.
perspective here, we would be in a situation where we're just in the echo chamber, you know, big up in each other and amen in each other. And I don't think that's useful at all. So I think we do need people who are going to be honest about the actual shape of the environments that we are living in.
Well, I'm
Like,
saying like for me, I know for me, I learned at a young age. Like, I mean, for me, and this is how I received it. Love was some bullshit, man. Ain't never
so
was something.
let me ask you this. You
I'm
said that's when
after.
you was growing up, right?
Yeah.
Has that changed for you? Like, do you feel any differently today as a young man who's approaching 30, if not 30 already?
I mean, I'm 30. I'm 31. Honestly, I feel like, man, I've seen so much toxic shit going up. Like, for example, because again, my older cousin brother, they weren't disciplined. Their relationships with women were tumultuous, and a lot of drama young people have with their relationships. So in my mind, they already put a sour taste with me in my mind with dating and shit in general because it's like, oh, I got to go through this shit. And the person supposed to love me, but then you go and start having your own personal experiences, and you have your bad experience. You realize, hey, man, like I don't like when you hear about love in the TV books or the shows, what other people talk about. Then you try to go look for it yourself, and you look into the world, and you don't see it. And it's like, hey, man, love ain't out here. There's a lot of other shit out here, but love ain't out here. So you start to realize, for me, you start to realize, well, I'm gonna focus on the things that's more concrete and real, like you know. But like I said,
No disrespect, bro, but it seems like you need counseling when it comes to that.
I probably do. I probably do. But
You keep bringing up the negative aspects. It's like you never had any positive aspects.
I honestly say I've never been in love, and I never had like a real positive experiences. Not to say I'm a toxic person or anything. I cause toxic drama, but things. It's just like I never had this thing where it's like, oh, I'm madly in love with this woman, and we have fireworks and shit, and I understand what love is. Like I haven't had that experience yet.
I don't
For me,
think I don't think you give yourself the ability to experience it because your mind frame.
that is true. I mean, that is true. I mean, I think
You
I
met
just loved it.
you probably met all these women that could have been an awesome life. You could have had built something beautiful. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true. I mean, that's true with me. And I also realized too, I think it is cultural too, because I kind of fell into a pimp thing in my early 20s. And what I mean by it is, like, you're a young man, you're trying to find wisdom in life, right? So you start to seek, you start to seek knowledge from older guys. For me, it was logical, right? So the type of men I was naturally drawn to were more flashy, flamboyant kind of guys who talk talk a good game. So one thing I learned from my old head, right? He says love ain't nothing but two motherfuckers feeling sorry for each other. And that kind of stuck in my mind a little bit. Yeah, but that's all the mindset of being a player. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you want to be a player, you gotta think that way. So, like, I changed my position. It probably is culture because if you grew up in an environment where all the guys you look to was players and max and had independent women, you can't value a woman to that certain degree. So yeah, I changed my position.
I think that's one reason why the Black community is lagging is that as well. You got to bring love back into the family.
But I think it's a double-edged sword. I think social media plays a part too, because I know for me,
Absolutely.
like, if I go on Instagram and Twitter, man, I see some of the shit people post. I say, yeah, I don't want love, man. Because social media gives Black relationships bad PR. I ain't gonna lie. You see one of those gender wars
Yeah,
on there.
you
You
know
like,
what?
man, these bitches crazy. These niggas crazy.
like a discussion between Tyler Perry and Jeezy and another guy. He's actually from Philly, but like I guess he owns like a burger like, point, whatever. But like it talked about this. They talked about the gender dynamic and like how it's like how what am I trying to say, man? Like it to Prince's point, like it's not what it once was as far as like people damn, what am I
I mean, I think I know what you're talking to. Like, one thing, one thing we want to talk about when it comes to love and idea of love, right? Capitalism and commercialization of love has also fucked love over in a lot of ways too, because love went from being a thing in the past where you lived it out.
oh,
You
wait
you,
a minute.
you with this
I don't know
person and y'all
I don't
had
know if
ups
we
and
can
downs of life.
romanticize it that way.
I'm
I
not.
do
No. Let me finish my point. What I mean by that is like the commercialization of love. Love became a thing. Like love went from a thing that's being measured in like your life, how you live with this person, into how much you can give this person. If that makes sense. Like okay, can you provide this type of lifestyle for me? Can you provide this kind of whatever? What can you do for me? And that's what as love became in modern day, instead of the greater good and working together type shit.
I agree with certain women. Yes, absolutely.
I'm not saying every person like that is a facsimile. I'm just saying, like in a general idea within the culture, it seems like it's about what can you do for me, what can you provide for me, and men do it too. I mean, men just express it in different ways.
Yeah, it's worse now today with a woman today
Yeah.
because of social media, music, culture, and just in general.
I mean, there's a lot of good. I mean, for me personally, I had a lot of women straight up try to break me for bread before, so it was like that puts a bad taste in your mouth too. Like, damn, do you like me or you want some money? Like, what it be? What is it? Which one is it?
It just seemed like a stressful lifestyle to me, man.
It is.
It don't just seem like it is. It just is stressful. So, I mean, this ties right back to the conversation about, you know, women and men trying to find their partners in college, because that is the pool at that point in time. Like when you get into the wider world, the pool begins to turn into a swamp. You've had these experiences directly, Prince, where you will meet a new woman and maybe even the same day she's asking, can you send me some money for lunch type shit.
That'd be crazy as fuck like that, man. Like, what the fuck?
yeah, I can't do that. Or I could have never done that.
But yeah,
But
I mean, I look at it just. I kind of find it disrespectful. Go ahead, man.
I mean, it is disrespectful, but this is the pool. That's just the reality. So either you wade in a nicer pool earlier in life and find a partner that is most compatible with you, or you get into this larger pool where it's just not as clean.
What if you never went to college? I mean, I'm a person who went to college, but the vast majority of young people or adults haven't been to college or don't have no experience in there, so they pull the shit from the jump.
Right. But I think there are different ways to seek out different pools. For example, I think this woman that or one of the cases, Prince, this is like you're on a dating app, right? Like you're linking with women, and these are women who are shooting their shot, like basically shooting at your wallet type shit. But there are cleaner pools outside of a college context. Like if you go to lounges and shit, like places where you wouldn't expect to find like immature women. This is not to say that the gold diggers won't be there, but yeah, man, it's just tougher. Like it doesn't matter what space you find yourself in. Some will be nicer than others, you know, in terms of the quality of the people in the pool. But yeah, man, it's just rough.
I mean, here's another thing too. Like, what if you're a successful man? I see a lot of successful men complain about women. I mean, it makes sense because like, once you get a certain amount of success, are you really sure this person likes you for you? I mean, if I lose all this shit, will you still like me? Will I still have access to the same quality of people? I'm pretty sure that's a very thing that sticks in the back of your mind all the time. Like, so it's best to get married when you're young, when you're not established, because at least she's there for you. But it don't work, sometimes it don't work like this. So I don't know.
If you are a successful man, I would venture to say that you're in environments where there are also successful women. So women with things to lose are women who have accomplished things on their own without having to, rely on another man. And that's your pool, and that's who you should shoot at. But a lot of men, well, men claim to not care about it. And I have thoughts on that. I'm not gonna go too deep into it, but I think men do care. I think men would prefer to not date women who have options outside of them. I
Makes
think
sense. Like,
I think men who are successful, for example, like Future could probably identify. Future could probably date another Sierra type, right? A woman who is somewhat self-made, who can do well outside of him. But he does not pursue those types of women. I don't think it's accidental.
Yeah, I mean, when you have money, I mean, for example, like I live in Atlanta, right? So I went to a lot. I mean, it's not about rappers, but I went to a lot of rappers, right? I mean, you know who was probably one? I met him one time on Edgewood, which is like a street with a lot of clubs, right? So I literally I was like 24 at the time. He literally walked. There was a little white girl in there. He literally walked in, didn't say two words to her, just pulled some money out of his pocket and slashed it to her. It was like, so it's about control.
Literally. So it's like you can't do that with women who are already having their own money. They're gonna look at you like you're crazy. So I think like men understand these dynamics. So it's like on one hand, I could have a woman who is more known, a woman who is more successful, but she has options outside of me, and I don't quite like that. I like a woman who is dependent on me, a woman who, if I pull out some money, she's gonna get excited. These are the things that men are pursuing. Fortunate in some cases because
Yep.
you're setting yourself up to be a lick.
Yeah. You gotta set yourself up to be a look. Look at Shannon Sharp. Prime on Shannon Sharp.
She was a young girl. I think she was I think he met her
Nice.
19.
Yeah.
And again, like she was on the prowl right away. Like and this is what I say, like a lot of young men or a lot of older men as well, especially if they have money, are the most vulnerable because they think that their money uh creates game for them, or they think that they
Yep.
have game because they have money. And this could not be further from the truth. So
No.
this is a young lady who spent money, her own money out of her pocket, to buy a high priced gym membership because she knew the type of men who would be in that environment. So she was paying for access to a better pool, in effect. And she found a fish in Shannon Sharp. Started dating him, and of course it turned sexual. And, she started laying the foundation to win this lawsuit, basically, like with the race play and everything. Like and this may be a very cynical way of looking at that event, like because that's the way I see it. I feel like she was setting them up from the very, very jump, and it paid off.
I agree. He was an idiot not to see it.
But it's difficult to see when you are that age and you attracted a 19-year-old woman. I think like when you're an older man, and this is for women too, like you can take a Drea. This is an older woman. Drea is like 40 years old. And she could easily, pair with a man who is, a little bit older or her age and be fine. But I think the older we get, the more that we long for our own youth, or the long that, or we begin to like mourn it because it's something that is slipping away from us that we can never regain.
I
And
think with Drea, though, she's seen a young sucker.
absolutely, like
She could have
she was
found an older
dating.
sucker.
She
She could have
could
found an
have,
older
but she could have found an older sucker. Is largely the point. So that only makes it like a little more manipulative. I think it's easy for people to like men, for example, to see it as being manipulative when it is a younger man that is the target, as opposed to like a man like Shannon Sharp targeting a 19-year-old. I think men can empathize more with him. Like, of course, I want some young pussy type shit, and it bit him because he was led to believe by her that it was his attractiveness or his power or whatever that attracted her. When at the end of the day, it was ultimately the money, and he had to come up off of it because of that.
Yeah, the socker to her pocket.
I bet you he won't do that again.
No,
I-
he will. He don't did it two other times.
Yeah, this is not his first rodeo. But again, like he's an older man, and if you have the opportunity, or if you're in an environment where there's these younger women, very attractive women that you wouldn't get under any other circumstances, but because of your power and your influence, you're able to attract them. Like it's hard to like look the other way and not pursue them. And these women know that. Like these women are not dumb. Like they got game, just like the athletes that they're pursuing. Like they are pros.
Was she now religious now, right? Ain't she
Yeah.
religious now? The
I
young
know.
girl.
Who religious?
I think they did it.
Zenitha.
I think the young girl that got the money from Shannon Sharp. She's posting Bible scriptures and shit now.
No. She
Oh.
was like that was some bragging shit. That was some bragging shit.
Yeah, she was flexing. She was flexing. I
Oh,
actually,
okay.
yeah. So what she did was, she was like, "Y'all got to refer to me as Miss whatever her name is," type shit. She actually posted a video of her in like a woman's business suit. Like she really shitting on him, and it's crazy.
You know what's crazy? If you would have talked to a black girl,
I don't know about that.
I don't.
Yeah,
I think. No, I actually agree, and for probably different reasons. First and foremost, she would not have
You
won a
would give a black
lawsuit.
girl-
She would not, even if she tried to line them up the exact same way as the white girl, it just wouldn't have worked out in her favor. She would have
but
been
we
drugged
can't
harder in the
make that about
media.
her
It just
being-
would have went bad.
Black girl got saying.
Saying like I don't think that
I
she feels
was
like
telling you,
that
you go ahead, brother.
solidarity here. Like, or like if she was a black woman, she wouldn't have done that to him. She may not have been successful in her pursuit. That's a different thing.
Oh, no. That's not the claim. That's not the claim. I certainly believe that there are
Being like she wouldn't have been successful in her pursuits. Maybe not. And I agree. But I'm saying like I don't think that a black woman is necessarily like putting like racial solidarity between like trying to game a man. That's all I'm saying.
Oh, no. I don't think that's the argument at all. Like, I think a black woman who's in that game, playing that kind of game, anybody's up for grabs. I think they're it don't matter if you're black or white, as Michael Jackson would say. Like, they're after green. Like, these are women who are pursuing men for their money. Andrea, she's been playing this game for a long time. You take somebody like a Brittany Renner, been in the game, playing the same game.
This is not her first rich nigga.
So and this is like these guys like know that these women are coming for them and they still can't see it coming. So this
Bro,
only
not only
speaks to
that-
the fact that these women are really good at their jobs.
Get off on
It's like that these are
other.
I know breakfast. It's even more insidious than that. Like I've actually talked to girls before, like who told me they practice on gaming. Then like there's girls who teach them how to like what to say and what to do, how to get a man.
I believe
around your time those shoes. I'm like, you practice that shit.
I mean, you should believe it.
Like,
You should
I'm saying right
believe
now,
it.
like this what girls do. Like,
Like-
if a girl being, my bad. Go ahead, man. Go ahead, man.
You're about to get into like some of the tips and tricks for women to other women about how to attract these men. But I'm talking about like, let's say you have one woman who has multiple athlete or celebrity baby daddies. Like, just at a statistical level, like how probable is that?
Yeah.
These are not amateurs. Like, these are
Yeah.
professionals.
Like for example, like women know how to play on a man's ego. They'll talk to you in a way that have you wide open. And she'll be telling you shit and doing shit. Like all she got to do is treat you very, very well and be a freak. And most men going to go open up for it.
I mean, I agree
I
with that.
want to admit,
I agree, but
I've been there. But yeah, my bad.
Yeah, feed your ego. Like, all that
I don't
shit.
think there should be any shame in admitting that. Like, that's just a fact of life. But I'm speaking more to like there are not a lot of athletes. Like they're just not. Like if we count the number of men that are in the NFL, for example, like we're not talking about like thousands of men. Or we look at the number of men who are in the NBA, we're not talking about thousands of men. Like, and there are women who have managed to get pregnant by multiple of them. So it's one thing to say that if these women, all they have to do is X, Y, and Z. First and foremost, these are women that have to get in your space. These are women who know how to get in front of these guys.
More than that too, because you still gotta put your spell on them. Like, these are skilled women. They know they are
Like-
resourceful. They know how to get to these places and they know how to get what they want.
Fam, it's so insidious. Like, these are women who will sleep with the friend who's not even an NBA player. But because being with the friend can ultimately get her in front of her real target, she will use him as a stepping stone.
And so she can be around, dude. She'll be dating him.
Just so she can be around him. Like, and all
Yeah.
it takes is one slip up. She gonna shoot her shot because that's what she came to do. Like, these are not women who are shy either. As soon as she has the opportunity, if her friend runs to the store real quick and she's left alone with the NBA player, it's over.
Yep. And the friend gonna be mad and shit, fall out with the nigga and all that. He took my girl. Like, nah. That was the plan the whole time.
That was the plan.
Yo, fellas, I'm about to get off. I ain't know it was 1 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, man, I got to get out of here too, man. But always a pleasure. And we should do this a lot more often, probably on a weekly basis if possible. Breakfast, if you can show up on time.
Yeah, breakfast been on some other shit lately, man. The podcast starting today. Oh yeah, matter of fact, see what had happened was my phone died.
Right. Hey Prince,
Get it together, bro.
is whatever that is. I think he has me blocked, bro. Like I don't even know.
Brother, Prince told you like he told you already, this is not something you should spend any time thinking about. And I understand why you would, but fees will eventually, he's going to come around. Go ahead.
Yeah, Thieves is not like other people, man. He's moody, man. He'll just switch up and drop a hat. That's who he is, man. You can't take it personal on that level.
Yo, how long y'all all know each other? Like, I'm just finding out that some dudes got beef. How the hell this shit happened from a message board?
There's a lot of us have like met offline. I've been knowing Prince, for example, since Prince was a baby, to be honest. Like, I've been knowing him since, 15?
2015.
Yeah. 2015. Yeah, that's right. So 10 years now.
Yo, So y'all all live near each other.
No. Like Prince is in Georgia. I'm in Houston.
It started through Tiny Chat, like the college used to y'all from college, but used to Tiny Chat threads used to be in a locker room. So we all just hop on Tiny Chat during nighttime and shit. We start talking and shit.
Right. And back then it was a little more informal. Like we would be on video chat for hours, all of us. Like all of us link up, video chat.
All night, playing music every night, you build friendships.
So y'all cool with Dead Seven, other boy that run the other Discord?
Oh yeah. I really didn't even get to know him from the Kali. I actually started to talk to him once he made the Discord server. Because he was mostly like JBO higher learning, and I really didn't spend too much time in higher learning. I'm a TLR type guy.
Same with me. I didn't get known Dead to Discord.
So who the hell is the boy Saf? Because he has a reputation. The nigga crazy.
Yeah, he's not from Cali. He's not from Cali.
He's not from Cali. Nah.
That nigga
He's
crazy.
from Chicago. I mean, you've heard him. He's a person who blows with the wind. Like whatever sounds and what I mean is, and I don't even mean that disrespectfully. It is like whatever ideology or messaging that sounds the most attractive to him is what he's gonna latch on to for that moment in time. Right now, he is, very attracted to like the MAGA movement and the Trump executive and all that kind of shit. So that wasn't always him, but that is where he is today. And so I just take it as it comes, to be honest. Like this is just the period that he's in right now, and we'll see where he continues to grow into. He's a younger man, like he's younger than us, obviously, but he's just trying to find his identity.
All right, so he's like 1 year.
He's 30. Yeah, he's 30. Yeah.
No, this is. I'm not excusing his behavior, but I think especially when it comes to black men, like a lot of us are just like late bloomers in that way, like just trying to starting to figure out our identities like a little bit later in life, like just still figure. Even now, like I'm damn near 40 and I'm still figuring certain shit out. New father, etc. But yeah, man. So I don't hold it against him. The larger point I'm trying to make, even though I disagree, obviously, with most of his opinions.
Yeah, he was tripping yesterday. Then today, I had to scoot him a little bit, but he be tripping, man.
We all know that. Right?
I just saying he crazy. I think he crazy. He cool. I just saying
I actually want him in here, but it's several other people that have been against inviting him here. Well, he was in here and then he got banned. I can't do anything about it. Like it's frustrating. I like vent to Matt about this like every other night. Like it's frustrating because I'm not like, so we were all in. I don't have an issue with the old HL or whatever. I'm just trying to like do another thing, like and I want Sav over here, but there's a lot of people that are not as tolerant of his bullshit. So I don't know. But I think Lizzie, is it Lizzie or Lizzie? How do you? Yeah, like I think I invited you to the other HL.
Lizzie.
Like we're both in the Arcadium or whatever. Yeah. I learned.
What's the HL? I don't know what that is. What's that?
I learned the one with Dead Seven stuff. He in there. He in there.
Like it is.
Oh yeah, I'm in there. I'm in this episode. I was in a podcast.
I like him. We have some disagreements or disputes about how to like moderate this whole situation. Like I don't like that there are two servers. I hate that, but I don't know what else to do about it at this point. But like, yeah.
Y'all basically China and Taiwan right now.
In some ways, I think that that's not a terrible comparison.
This is redundant. The two servers are redundant because it's basically the same people.
No, bro, I get it.
I'll be posting the same thing in both the servers now. I just copy the links in both. So, all right, one last question before I hop off. Who is the Indian nigga?
Rishi.
Yeah, what's up with him?
He's full of shit.
He worse than Sav.
Yeah, he full of major shit. Like he talks with authority and like he knows what he's talking about, but he don't know what the fuck
They don't. Yeah, when you make points, he avoid that shit.
Yeah, man, like he does that. Like I just stopped engaging with him. I ain't gonna lie.